Let's talk about early business investments that delay growth. If you're building an online business, online coaching business, or maybe consulting or online service providing, investing early is actually glorified online. You would see, if you scroll through Instagram or if you read emails, you would see advices: go all in, invest. If you're ready to see the growth, take bold moves, take the risk. If you take the risk, you are going to see success. Investing early is actually a lot more glorified. It's really trying to instigate people to invest, and that is considered as the only thing that's going to give you success, which actually is not. You know, all of this is actually creating a pressure to go all in even before clarity exists. Now, go all in, do everything, make bold moves and all may be true for someone who really has some clarity, who really knows what they're building about, maybe have their offers and all in place. But for someone who is just starting out, maybe not even made $500 online and really, following all those advices, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to make the scariest move out there and finally go and get stuck somewhere. That's the worst advice someone could have. I have shared parts of this before when I invested too early in my business, the investment I have regretted so far, but I have never talked about what it actually did to my business in long term. I have spoken at multiple places about the first 40K investment, which was into one-to-one coaching, as a regret. I know in multiple of my programs, maybe path to 10K and on multiple client calls. But what I'm going to share today is all the consequences it had in my business on long term. To clarify, the 40K investment was a one-to-one investment. The coach wasn't bad. And that's what we discuss here. So, whatever we discuss here today is not about, oh, the coach was bad. It's not that. You know, when I was doing that investment, I was in very early stages of my business. So, I had just started. January 2022, I had just started. I was figuring out what I have to do. I had, taken certifications, almost 5+ certifications to qualify myself before I called myself something. I really say something because I wasn't sure what I should call myself. I had done a mindset certification to call myself as a mindset coach. I was doing neurogenetic certification to add on to the mindset coach. I was also doing a course launch strategist certification to call myself a course launch strategist. I also did a social media ads certification to call myself as a social media ads expert. So I was in that scenario. Literally, I had no one who knew me globally. People had no idea who I was. My website wasn't present, offers weren't present. In fact, if you go dig deeper, even I didn't know what was niche I wanted to work in. Now, I know niche is sounds like very outdated term today, but I really didn't know what I was going to support people with. And that moment I saw people, marketing everywhere. Go all in. You're going to see business success. You're going to speed up things out there. If you invest the high ticket investments, you would see success faster. You will scale 10x faster. Those bold moves, people are really going from 0 to 100K cash months. I believed in all those and I invested into a one to one coach. I was paying almost $3,000 a month for a one to one coach back then. And I had no idea what I had to work on these calls. So it was bi-weekly calls, and I was in a phase where I really needed hand holding. I really needed someone to tell me, you know what, you should explore this, you should explore that, or maybe you should position yourself as this. I had no idea who I was, what I was doing, and I was still working with a one to one coach, paying heavy fees out there. And not just 3K per month, I was also investing into multiple masterminds because it was spoken about go bold. My investments at that period were almost 5.5K US dollars per month, and my revenue was literally zero. So I had no business model, no offers, no defined niche, and I was investing. So it was a early business mistake, early business investment mistake. It what really sounded like it's going to be the thing, it's going to take me to that next level, was actually creating the worst impact on me and on my business. I regret that investment even today. Even today, I regret that investment because it created 110K debt on me. And after that, like I felt really locked in for 12 months. I couldn't end the agreement, even though I wanted to. I had so much emotional meltdowns in between that year. I was scared. I wanted to shut down that container. I wasn't allowed to because I had signed a 12-month agreement and I knew I had to fulfill it. I did fulfill that by taking loans from various locations, by borrowing money, and it wasn't that easy. It was very hard to generate 110k revenue, 110k of depth for the investments. After that, even today I regret it because all of my money was lost even when I didn't know what I wanted to do. So as years passed by, maybe 2 years later, when I was very clear what I wanted to do, how I wanted to help people, I really came across some very good coaches out there. I didn't have money. I really didn't have free flow funds with me. I met so many incredible mentors that I have today, and they're all offers like the all in access, if you see, was less than $3,000 a month, which I paid every single month without actually getting anything, without getting anything useful for me at that stage. But today, when I go and I invest into these people, literally, they were giving me everything they have, but I didn't have funds. I couldn't even buy the all access passes on an payment plan, which was like $100, $200. I couldn't buy that as well because my free flow funds were all exhausted. And not just the investments, okay? Not just the investments. I wanted to grow my list. So for list growth, you need to run Facebook ads. If you don't want to run, there are other ways. We'll discuss that too. But I wanted to run Facebook ads. My cost per lead was coming less than $1. Okay, less than that. But I didn't have funds to run ads. Every time I started an ad campaign, I had to pause it early because I was very short on funds. And if you really want to get those leads, if you really want to get boost with Facebook ads, you need minimum of $1,000 budget per month. I didn't have it because I had wasted it all before. So every time when I had to abandon my ad campaigns, I had to abandon, all those lead ads, those sales ads, SLO offer ads, I regretted for that investment. Going beyond that, a lot of collaborative opportunities that come across. I host so many collaborative bundles and I do participate into so many. They give you amazing VIP gold sponsor spots and they are not costly. $197, $500, $1,000 if the bundle is very huge. And if you become a VIP for these events, you are guaranteed for such a list growth. Like they don't give you guarantee, but you are going to get so much influx of leads. I didn't even have that funds at hand. I remember the time when, a VIP spot was just $47. And I knew if I do it, I'm going to get hundreds of leads. I didn't have money at hand because I had invested all that. I had, wasted all that, I could say, in the first year. So I couldn't run ads. I couldn't explore collaborations. I couldn't, invest into different coaching. I couldn't try anything. I couldn't experiment freely. So the investment that I did early in my business without thinking anything, that really caused lots of frustration, lots of, hopeless and helpless moments at that time, was even affecting my business 3 years down the line. So 3 years down the line, my business was generating revenue, but it wasn't that huge that I could actually repay the debt and also have for these things. So whatever I was earning, I had to pay to repay the debt. I had to pay for the cost that my team had. The costs about the whole course host, costs about multiple programs you are into, and these were not heavy investments. I never actually invested such heavy after that one regret I did. It was so bad. I felt stuck for the 12-month commitment. And even beyond that, when I saw people who were like very new than me, very new, they had just started, but they had funds, they had free flow hands. They could grab those VIP spots, they could grab those solo promotion in the emails, they could actually buy that course, which I really wanted to buy, the skill course, not the support. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because all of my thing had gone into support, which wasn't worth for the stage where I was in. Early investments, even though they are created like they are glorified, like it's a fantasy, it's the only thing that takes your business forward. Today, I would tell you It's the thing that would also take your business to all the negatives that it could take. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to recover the debt, to recover all the emotional thing you have gone to come out of all that frustration and really see as a business owner. So when you go into investment trauma, which I keep talking about, it's very difficult to get out of an investment trauma. And when you go into an investment trauma, you yourself hold yourself from investing. You hold yourself from trusting people. I have gone through that phase. So there was a phase in my business, almost 12 months, where I didn't trust anyone. Not any mentor, any coach, nothing. I didn't want to invest in anyone because I was traumatized with my investments. And it did affect the bad way. So investing also affected the bad way. Not investing also affected the bad way because I was doing only the things that I knew. How would I learn something new? How would I learn new strategies? How would I expand myself? How would I be visible if I'm not going to invest in my business? So, investments are required, and you really need to be very wise while investing in your business. The biggest thing that I had to unlearn in my business was don't invest because it's glorified. Invest because you need it. Invest because it's the thing you are working on. Invest because you are going to utilize it. Now, I'm not talking about investments under $500. If you're doing it for testing things out, it's okay. I'm not specifically talking about those. But if you are committing for something that is long term, which goes beyond $500 or maybe $1,000, invest wisely. Think about where your business is right now. So, is your business into offer creation? Then don't go and invest into something who is teaching you evergreen models or someone who is teaching you all passive sales. Because if you really need to learn about offer creation, go and invest into something about offer creation. If you are really learning Facebook ads, invest into something about Facebook ads. Don't learn something about which you would do 6 months later. Don't do that. Invest into something that you're working right now. Things change, offers of people evolve, and invest wisely. And one more thing I have to say here is don't invest into masterminds without thinking what it is going to give you. Now, I know masterminds can be the best place for you to be in. It can really be the best place for you to be in. It can really be the best place for you to have conversations, to work on the things that you need. But if you invest too early in the spaces that you don't belong, you might you might go into the rabbit hole, keep swirling around, and you would never see your business moving forward. One of the things that is said online is invest in the future identity of you, where you want to go. You would see these social media posts everywhere. Invest from a place where you want to go and not where you are. I believed in it very strongly for some time. Invest in where you want to go. So I really want to go for 100K cash months. So invest 100K into a mastermind. But is it valid for your stage? You are in a stage now where you're not even bringing in $500. So for you, the next step is going to be 10K cash months. Even 10K cash months for someone making $500 is a huge leap. So invest in that space. Maybe invest in what you need. Invest in the spaces that have conversations around people going from 500 to 5K or 500 to 10K. Don't invest into spaces which are talking about 100K. I have done that mistake. I have tried to be in spaces where people were making 100K cash months, 50K, 60K, and I was literally making my first few dollars online. You start self-doubting yourself. You start feeling you are the wrong person. Now, you might see some people coming and creating content around, I always invested from the place I wanted to be in. Now, I'm not saying they are wrong, or I'm also not saying they are right. But I would just tell you it's not the whole story. It's not the whole story because building an online business is not a cakes walk. It's not easy. It takes work, it takes effort, and it also takes into account the practicality. Someone at zero cash months cannot really go at 100K cash months without putting in the work there. And I'm talking about building a legit online business in which you are selling your courses, your consulting, or providing services. I'm not talking about energy or hyped based businesses. That's out of my context. So today, if I had to do things differently, if I had to invest differently, I always prioritize skill-based investment first. So what do I mean by skill-based investments? If I really want to learn a new strategy, oh, that person is making sales or automation in their emails. Now, I already do email marketing. I already have a list of 3K plus people. So I'm already at a place where I can implement that. That's a good investment for me. So I see someone talking about launching a membership. So I go back and look into my business. Do I have the capacity? Maybe no. If I'm really trying to polish one of my signature offers, I don't have a capacity to go and launch a membership. That goes on hold. So always look whether you have that infrastructure, you have that base setup before expanding. You cannot invest into something and then work on the foundation. So invest into working on the foundation first and then on expansion, because every investment comes with the time period, and the time period would go on and you would be still working on the foundations which you could have worked with a different investment. So always make sure, don't waste all of the liquid funds you have at your hands in just the first year in investing heavily by looking at what's happening outside. Keep some free flow at hands. Invest into multiple things, some into visibility, some into learning, some into support that you need. You know, when I invested heavily only into the coaching part of it, I had to cut down from so many other things. And for your business to perform well, you need all of the things out there. So at some places, you might need to take help from funnel builders, or you might need to take help from those who write copy for you. You might need to take help from for the tech stuff you have. So if you're going to invest all of this only into coaching, and you know you are delaying your growth. So if you're early in your business and you feel pressure to go all in, you see people, claiming that as the best advice. I hope this is giving you the permission to say no. Say no for what doesn't feel right for you. You don't have to do it because everyone else is doing it. You have the permission to pause, think, evaluate, and then take a decision. So my thing for you is always think, not just twice. Always think maybe 10 times before investing into something. And that's required. That's required for your stage. See where your business is now, what stage you are in, what are you doing now, and what is your next step. Only invest in the next step. And if you really want to invest into the masterminds and all of the spaces, make sure you trust the person so much that you are ready to commit for 12 months. Don't just commit for long term containers and someone who is new or whom you don't know about how the approach is going to be. Yes, 12-month group programs, absolutely fine. Because if that is what you're working on, that is the content you're consuming, yes, go for it. But masterminds, mini-minds, which are high ticket investments. So, towards while wrapping up the episode, I would just say invest wisely. Invest into the future identity where you want to go. Absolutely invest into that. But always think about the ground reality, where you are right now. Because only when you invest from where you are right now is when you can go to your future identity. Or else you would end up in frustrations, regrets, and maybe recording an episode like me. Thank you.